Hey, what's up, my Dragon Legion? How y'all been? So there, Dragoons. I know I've done a deck profile about this deck not too long ago, and I know we are already heading a format where we're all about the sub-clans and all the later stuff right now. However, since I finally got this deck finally completed, no proxy, all that such, I figured I wanted to show you all my 2 cents of how my Narukami, the blood deck is finally once and for all before we start moving on to the newer set. Now, even though we are in a format where we're all about the newer set or less such, shockingly, the blood build of Narukami's can still actually hold its own against some of the crazy stuff that's going on right now at the moment. Like, as long as you go off with your familiar Kaiser's effect, you can still take out some serious rear guards, go in for that extra damage, and just take over the board very fastly. It just all depends on who's the one playing the blood build and who's the one in control of the deck right here. And I figured that some of you Dragoons would really appreciate seeing a Narukami, the blood build, finally complete with none of that stupid proxy stuff I've been doing in the past. But now since the deck is finally completed, it finally has no more proxies, I can finally do a legitimate Narukami, the blood build with absolutely no more proxy. And I think a lot of you all would really appreciate that. And with that being said, I'm going to get the deck profile right now, shall we? Alright, start off with your usual starting Vanguard. Spark Kid, Draco Kid. I know, like, not counting the newer set of the Eradicators, all that such, this guy right here is pretty much your ideal starting Vanguard when it comes to playing the Blood Narukami's. Counterblast 1, put in your soul, and if any of the top 5 cards, one of the top 5 cards on top of your deck is a grade 3 Narukami, you can just add to your hand. Helps you speed up your plays of getting to your regular Familiar Kaiser or your Blood Familiar Kaiser, which is always very appreciated when you're playing this deck right here. And next for the trigger lineup. Now, this deck, I know we're heading to a... pardon me. Now, alright, I'm just going to say it. I can't talk today. I played the 8 critical and the 4 draw lineup. Now, the reason why I like doing this right here, because when you're playing Narukami the Blood, you really want to go in. It's really all about getting that 1 damage in. And since your main starting Vanguard is all about being aggressive and getting that big, huge attack in, it does kind of make sense that you play the 8-4, so you can possibly do that right here. And plus, by playing the 8-4 instead of the 6-6, you are more likely to have 10,000 shields more than 5,000 shields, so you can defend off your opponent a lot easier. So this lineup right here is not only good for offense, but it is also good for defense, which is always appreciative, even when you're playing a deck that does love absolute offense. Pardon me. And of course, as most of you all can expect, the 4 heals. No explanation why the heals are still in the deck. That's it for the trigger lineup. For the grade 1 lineup, we have 4 Red River Dragoons, 4 of the Perfect Guards. That's pretty much standard when it comes to Narukami the Blood. I don't think I need any further explanation than that. And next we have 3 Photon Wyvern Bombers. This guy is like really good in this type of Narukami deck right here. His ability is when he's boosting your Vanguard, as long as your opponent has 3 or more cards in his or her damage zone, the Narukami Vanguard that this card is boosting will automatically get an additional 4,000. So when you go off with your Familiar Kaisers, Limit Break, or Limit Break 5, whatever such, your Vanguard's power is going to be either 23 power or 28 power, and you'll just go in with some massive huge damage and force your opponent to either do an instant perfect guard or use up quite a bit of cards in his or her hand. Pardon me. Next we play 2 copies of Rising Phoenix. Now Rising Phoenix is really good right now because since Narukamis don't need anything in their soul other than having a regular Familiar Kaiser and a soul of your other blood Familiar Kaiser, that's really the only thing you really need in your soul. And even that is not really a big issue if you manage to what's it called? Soul Charge. What's it called? Soul Charge. Wow, it's been a while. Soul Charge. Soul Blast. Soul Blast. Pardon me. Wow. So when you Soul Blast, it doesn't really phase you at all, even if the card you Soul Blasted was your regular Familiar Kaiser, because your Blood Familiar Kaiser will already have so much power, he'll already be doing enough damage by himself. And lastly, to kick off the grade 1s, we play 2 copies of Lightning of Hope, because that ability to pitch a card or draw a card when he boosts when a card that he's boosting hits an attack is always very good, and it does add a little bit of draw power to the deck. That's one thing the deck kind of does lack on, is a little bit of drawing. And with this guy right here, this deck will be able to do a little bit more drawing, which does help out the deck a little bit right here. And that right there was just the grade 1s. For the grade 2s, we play 3 copies of Demonic Dragon Berserker Gouda. Gouda's really good because when his attack hits a Vanguard, you choose one card that's face down, your damage turn is face up, and since you're playing your Draco Kid, your Spark Kid Dragoon, your Death Scheme, and of course your Kaiser Familiar, going off with their specific effects, if you can just land their attacks more than once, whatever, you can potentially go off with your Familiar Kaiser's effect more than twice for the same game, which is always really good. This guy right here is so good. Whenever I play him, I managed to even pull off using Kaiser Familiar's ability 3 times during that one game, which is really good. Your 3 Death Schemes. Death Scheme is really good because he does give you that, despite the ability that Kaiser Familiar will take out a good portion of your rear guards or make your opponent guard so much where they spare your rear guards or whatever such. It does help a little bit to have the power and ability to take out those rear guards that you don't want to deal with, those back row rear guards to be more specific. And that scheme right here helps you do the job a little bit better. And plus, he's kind of one of your more ideal vanguards, your grade 2 vanguards that you rather have as your grade 2 vanguard than your Thunderstorm Dragoon and your Gouda, when you would rather have them keep as reserve and keep having them what they do. And as last but not least for the grade 2s, 4 copies of Thunderstorm Dragoons. Now, Thunderstorm Dragoon, he's cool and all. I like the ability that he's a 10k 2 vanilla. However, when I pick up that one other Narukami guy, I think his name is Thunder Horn Dragon, I believe. What Thunder Horn Dragon does is pretty much it's just like Burning Horn Dragon, only except he works with Kaiser Familiar instead. Like he's a grade 2 Thunder Dragon with 9,000 power. And his ability is, when he swings for attack, as long as your Vanguard has the word Kaiser Familiar in his name, your Vanguard has the word Kaiser Familiar in his name, while he's a rear guard attacking, he will gain additional 3,000 while he's attacking, which actually does put a little bit more pressure down your opponent, which is always very appreciative. But until I pick him up, this guy right here alone is pretty good where he's at. So 4 Thunderstorm Dragoons, and of course, for the best part of the entire deck profile, the grade 3s, at least in my opinion. We play Max Dragonic Kaiser Familiar. Even if you don't get the blood on board, Kaiser Familiar, regular Kaiser Familiar, does do a pretty good job on his own. Like, the ability where he can just swing in, kill your opponent's entire front row, and potentially make your opponent waste up a good portion of his or her hand is always very appreciative. And plus, while after you're done going off with effect like so, it does leave your rear guards open to go after the Vanguard as well. So Kaiser Familiar by himself is always very good, with or without the irregular, well, not regular, with or without Dragonic Kaiser Familiar the Blood. And speaking of the Blood, 4 copies of your ideal game condition winning card, Dragonic Overlord, no, not Overlord, Dragonic Kaiser Familiar the Blood. Your ideal Vanguard. If you have him in a soul, he becomes 13 beater. He has Limit Break 5, so in order to go off with his ability, the total amount of cards and your damage has to be 5 total, not 4 total, like you would do with this guy. So using him would probably be a little bit more riskier, but it is worth it. Counterblast 3 cards, and just like the original guy, he gets to attack your entire front row, but only except he'll gain 2,000 power, 5,000 power instead of just 2,000, and he'll gain additional 1 critical, which will put a lot of pressure down your opponent, where you can potentially swing for game and knock some serious heads off against your opponent. But even if you don't get this guy in your soul, as long as you can at least go off with this guy's effect and you got your full-time Wyvern Bomber boosting him, you're not really going to have that much of a problem dealing with your opponent as long as he is used right. So that right there was my Narukami the Blood. Oh, sorry, that was my chair. My chair fell. That right there was my Narukami the Blood deck profile. It hasn't really gone that many changes, just a little bit there, but I'm just really glad that I was able to do a Narukami deck profile video without any proxies. And until I get my hands on Eradicators, this is the deck that I will be playing until I can pick up my ideal Eradicator deck. But until then, this deck right here is really good. It still holds its own against those certain big decks that no one likes to deal with. And all in all, it's still good. It's still very aggressive. It's still going to be one of my favorite decks until the very end. But all in all, I really like it. And in the near future, once I get my ideal Eradicators together, I will do a deck profile of my Eradicator Narukami deck profile. So until then, let me know what all you Dragoons think about this deck profile in the comment section down below. And I'll see you all around. Hope you Dragoons enjoy this video. Leave a like and fade if you did. Hit subscribe today to become part of the Dragon Legion Alliance. And I'll see you Dragoons another day. Christian Dragoon, signing out. Peace.